Hey everybody, this is Jake with Myers Flies, and today we're going to be tying a little simple scud pattern. Now today I'm tying this with a tungsten bead, so I'm going to take my lead and wrap it around and shove it up into the back of the bead. If I am not using a tungsten bead, oftentimes what I'll do is just wrap the lead 5, 6, 7 times right in the middle of the hook, and so that kind of like helps give the little bump. That's the little scud back. But this is for a Euronymphine fly, and so I'm going to use the tungsten bead, use the lead. Try these little simple scuds. They work great. I catch a lot of fish on these. You can change up the color patterns, so you can use different different dubbings and things of that nature, different yarns, and things of that type to get different color patterns. Try to match the scuds that are in your area. Turn over some rocks. Take some time. Don't be afraid to just after you're done fishing or before you're fishing, turn over some rocks. Get down in there, get a little screen, and you just do some digging and find out what is in your area. Take some pictures. One of the things I like to do is take some pictures, take some notes. That way you know in this stream I found 3, 4 different color variations of scuds, and so if you get something in the middle there of the color variations, you might find some browns, some grayish colored ones, some tans, things like that. You can just pick some colors that are very close to those, and it just kind of helps you when you go back into that stream, and then you can kind of match those to whatever you're fishing. So and it's just fun. It's just fun to keep a tab on some things. So let's get into tying this. I hope you like it. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to our Instagram, and also on the YouTube. Thanks for watching. I'm going to tie up a little scud pattern that I think works pretty well here in South Central Pennsylvania. This is a very simple scud. You'll see here in the vise I've already got the fire hole hook. This is a fire hole 321 size 14, just their little scud hook there. That's a fire hole stone 2.5 millimeter copper bead, and there is 0.015 lead. There's 10 wraps of that on there. And what I'm going to do now is just take a little bit of UTC ultra thread in size 140 denier. Sorry about that. 140 denier in tan color, and just wrap right behind there. Make sure that lead gets pulled up into the back of the bead. Cut that off. I'll just add a little bit of like a brown pheasant tail. I'm going to pull about 4 or 5 little strands off of there. And we're going to measure that tail, and that's going to bend down around. So I want to make sure I get that right. And then just tie that on. And I'm going to take this down into the bend of the hook there, and I'll bring it back up. Now I'm going to leave this on, and I'll show you why here in just a minute. Now I'm going to take a little bit of this is a UTC brassy size copper wire. I'm going to tie this in on the far side. If you kind of put it on top and get it started and let the thread tension just take it around, you'll be alright. I'm going to take that right down to where I stopped. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it back, and I'm going to tie this in there. And you say, what the world are you doing tying that in there? Well, you'll see in a minute. This pattern is something I found on the creek. I was flipping rocks over, and there was a tan scud that I'm going to tie here like a tan brown. See, I make that little hump right here in the middle, kind of like the proportion of the scud. They got that little shrimp, you know, a little bigger in the middle. Then I'm going to take some Hares mask. This is just a natural Hares mask, and I'm just going to dub this on. Now you can use a lot of stuff here. You can use, you know, scud dubbing. You can use the Sasquatch dubbing that we have here in the shop. Works good for this, but you know, I just got done doing a bunch of hare's ear nymphs, and I cut mine off of the mask on the hare's ear for the hare's ear nymph. I just cut it right off of the mask, and I kind of make my own dubbing up. Well, you get a good bit of. I mean, here's a little ball of that dubbing, you know, from just making a couple of those hare's ear nymphs. So why waste it, you know? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a nice tight rope here. I'm going to start here at the back. Just touching wraps right up around, and it's going to follow your profile there. I'm going to put some more on. Yeah, I don't like to waste stuff, so you know, when I do orders for people, you know, a lot of times whatever the scrap is left, I take that and then I'll tie my own stuff and fill my box up there. And that way you end right there at the end. Now what I'm going to do, see that little tag that we had? I'm going to wet my fingers. I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to twist it. See how that twists around that pheasant tail? That's going to do a couple things. It's going to make a little rope that goes around there. Okay, it's going to make just a little rope, but then it's also going to give it a little bit more strength, you know, too, because pheasant tail is not all that strong. I'm just going to tie it right in there behind the bead. Then I'm going to pull it back, just kind of double it over, just like that. Then you can snip that off. And then I'm going to take my copper wire and I'm going to do about 4 evenly spaced sections here. That last one usually finishes up right there behind the bead. Now what I like to do is just give this a whip finish, and then I'm going to add a little more dubbing up here, just a little bit. I just want to kind of cover up that thread, and I'll whip finish that dubbing on there. Okay, now cut off any little stragglers. Now what I like to do is take a little bit of like loon or the Hares bone dry. Like I use the thin, the flow or the bone dry. You know, just real. Hit that with the UV light there. That way it soaks right through those fibers. If you use fingernail polish, sometimes I do that, but it doesn't soak in as good as that does. Now what I'll do here is I'll just kind of take my little piece of Velcro and just brush that out underneath of there real good. Kind of brush it down. Be careful you don't whack those fibers of the pheasant tail. You just brush it out real good. And again, this is, you know, on how much you want to brush it, and I'll just cut it right to the bottom of that hook like that. So then you can see you got your little fibers back here. and you can see that makes a nice little, and it gives you a nice little vein on the back there. A lot of the scuds I find, they've got that, the dark little vein right in the back, and so that just kind of, gives you that kind of look there. So give these a try. They're pretty simple, and boy, they catch some fish. Scuds here in South Central PA are all over the place. So subscribe to us on YouTube, and like us on Facebook, and give us a follow on Instagram. And hope you have a lot of luck out on the water. God bless. Tight lines.